Loving the time of Hydra, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 10th anniversary podcast. We're a day late this week, but we're going to pretend like it's April 5th and take it back 10 years. On April 5th, 2016, the top song was once again Work by Rihanna featuring Drake, and the top movie at the domestic box office was once again Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Connecticut defeated Syracuse at the 35th NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. Fun fact, PayPal announced it was canceling a $3.6 million investment in North Carolina after the state passed anti-gay legislation. All right, PayPal.
Okay.
Good for you.
Okay.
And San Francisco became the first U.S. city to mandate paid paternal leave. That's pretty cool, too.
Yeah.
Some nice stuff going on 10 years ago. Lily James turned 27. Sterling K. Brown turned 40. And Agent Carter herself, Haley Atwell, turned 34. But the most important thing that happened on April 5th, 2016 was the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode Spacetime aired on ABC. Hi, I'm Jamie Jirak, and I'm here with my co-host, boyfriend, and level 3 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, Tony Polato.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. We got a good guest today.
Oh, I'm so excited about today's guest. He is an actor. He's appeared in so many great shows. The Sopranos, Mad Men, Modern Family, recently Palm Royale, way more. But he's here because he plays Charles Hinton in Spacetime. Bjørn Johnson is here.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome.
I'm very, very excited to be here. I'm very flattered. You guys have, because the show has the creatives on the show and the cast from the show are just so remarkable that to be invited to something like this is got me a little verkookt.
Oh, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you for doing it because honestly, I really love this episode. It's a favorite of mine, and I've known for a long time I wanted to try to get you on. So,
Wow.
like for a while, I've been like, Tony, there's this guy in one episode. He's only
And
in
she
one
was
episode.
right. Yeah.
And so I'm so happy that you're here. We have so much to talk to you about. We always kind of start by asking our guests a little bit like about their Marvel history. Did you read comics or have any Marvel knowledge before joining this episode, or was this kind of your jumping point into it?
It was very well. I would say I'd seen some Marvel comics as a kid growing up. I was not like that kind of comic book freak. I was more of a Asterix and Obelix kind of guy.
Love that stuff.
And I learned languages through comic strips a lot. I learned to speak Norwegian by reading those and some other stuff. So I liked comic books, but the Marvel thing hadn't really grabbed me until I found out I was doing this thing. It's like, oh, I better find out what the heck this is all about. So I tried to get as caught up as I could, but that was mostly reading about it as opposed to having the opportunity to consume the art and the whole process. So
Right.
From getting cast in something to learning every single thing about Marvel.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
That would take a long time.
Yeah.
I want to talk just before we get specifically about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just a little bit about your career because like you've had a cool career.
Yeah.
You're a singer. You've done Broadway, and you've worked as a stunt coordinator, and you did fight choreography for the Met. Isn't that dope?
The Met?
Yeah, the Met, like the opera.
Oh, shit.
that Met. Yeah.
Yeah, the Met. The one. I just would love to hear a little bit about that.
Well, it was actually a lot more than just the Met. I went to drama school first of all, I have to say, having listened to your previous episode, I need to tell you guys that though I'm from Minnesota and my parents moved back to Minnesota, we moved to Naperville, Illinois.
Stop it!
Oh,
I went to school there from 3rd grade through graduating Naperville Central High School, and then and double whammy from your previous episode. I graduated college in Downers Grove.
Wow,
so
that's funny.
I've got more connections to the show than
and so, do you lie and tell people you're from Chicago?
No.
Okay, see, that's
I said from Minneapolis.
Yeah. Okay. Which is also a great city.
Yeah.
I went to college in Chicago, so I know all the surrounding states.
Are you from there?
Like that. No, but I lived there for 10 years, so I know it pretty well.
Yeah, good time. Great city. I started learning Spanish there in Pilsen and the wonderful community, largely Mexican community there. But I went to New York. We're talking about show business.
Yeah.
I went to New York to go to Circle in the Square Drama School. And
one of my best friends went there.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Wonderful place. Wonderful teachers. And one of my major teachers was a gentleman named B.H. Barry, who is probably the most important fight director from the theater. And I apprenticed to him 2 months shy of 7 years, kind of a classical apprenticeship. So while I was also training as a singer and ended up doing a lot of musicals, as I was a weird guy that way. You know, if I was in a musical with someone, it was hard for them to conceive that I was a fight director. If they met me because I was doing fights with them, it would be weird to think that I did a sketch comedy. If they saw me at a sketch show, what the hell is this guy doing singing?
That's the best. That's how you get a cool workman-like career, Bjorn.
Well, I've always been in the trenches and really loving that. And speaking of the fight stuff, because of that, I ended up being able to work with some of the world's greatest directors under BH, and some of the greatest actors, and just tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of the cast on the show are people I'd done fights on. Adrian Pasdar, Bill Paxton. I've got some great Bill Paxton stories, you know, so that really got me involved in a very advantageous way, and being able to see sort of different sides of how things work out. I came out here 30 years ago, 94, thinking that I needed to get some TVQ because I kept getting cast. I would audition for, in the regions I was doing great. In town, for Broadway or whatever, I would audition for these wonderful lead parts and continuously asked to, oh, you're terrific, could you understudy and be in the ensemble? And I finally lost a part to a guy who God bless him for getting the part. It was a great part. It required singing and comedy and drama and a sword fight. So, you know, and when I didn't get it, as this quote from the producers goes, I ran into the casting director at a party a couple months later. I said, well, what has happened? And she's like, well, the other guy, one of our producers had cast approval, and she'd seen the other guy as a guest star on Star Trek and insisted that they cast him. I thought, I got to go get on Star Trek. So I came out here in 94 and thinking I would go right back, and here I am.
Wow. Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah. I had a teacher named Dennis Laval, who was a New York actor who did the very same thing that you did, in the sense of like, I keep getting these understudy parts. I'm like a leading man on stage and a character actor on film. I got to go to LA. Yeah, he was what is the cowboy commercial where they're like New York City, and it's like what are they selling? They're selling like chili or something like that, or hot sauce. But he booked that and was able to like buy a house. This national recurring commercial. So yeah, it's a common tactic, I guess. Like, come here and get on a show.
Some great actors doing a lot of commercials out here.
Mm-hmm.
I've lucky with the commercials too. But you know, it's a great place to be if you want to work hard.
Yeah. Oh, that's for sure. All right. So we're jumping ahead. We're cutting to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Do you remember your audition? I mean, this was pre-COVID, so was it self-tape, or did you go in? Do you remember?
I went in. It's you know, I got to say, there's something about this show, but there's something about this role. Listen, I'm an emotional person, but I don't well up all the time. And just there's something about this guy and his situation that even today, it's like, because when you work on a part, you start owning a part, right? And you start connecting with its history and whatever. And there's just something so. Until I married 3 years ago, I had no children. I married a woman who had 6. So,
oh, wow.
So, you know, I didn't know anything about actually being a father. I ran an acting studio for 16 years. So I sort of had a fatherly relationship, perhaps, but it's not the same thing. But there's something about this guy, and to know that because of this pterogenesis, I guess it's called, that he couldn't touch his own daughter, much less his wife. I found heartbreaking. And I went over to do this audition over on Larchmont, and I don't remember all of my auditions this way, but this one I do. Oh. And there's, you want to connect with the part, and you want to do your homework and then forget about it and just see what comes up. And often we need to prepare to put ourselves in this moment of that human being in their space and time. This one, I remember distinctly doing the audition and trying so hard to stay in control that I never had to do work to get there. It was about trying to keep it together. And I can confess, when I finished the audition, I went to my car and wept.
Wow.
That's great. I mean, you're so inclined to the work that you're living it, you're feeling it, you're vibing with it, and I'm sure that's what they clearly saw it.
Yeah.
It was an honor to get it and to feel something about fatherhood, and I was listening to I had auditioned for the baker in the Sondheim musical. Now here
Into the Woods.
Into the Woods, and it's all about fatherhood, and I didn't get it till I started working on the material for the audition, and that no one is alone.
Yeah.
Play it on loop, all that.
I'm a Sondheim girly, so I feel it. I'm gonna start crying.
It's so much about the human condition is, I think, so supercharged when you're handing it off to an offspring, something protecting someone else, and this guy not being able to protect his own kid and not being able to stay with the daughter, with his wife. And when I saw this scene, when the show came out, and I got to see the scene of my wife talking about her husband, that actress, wow.
Really good.
Yeah, I was going to ask later when we get to it, but I'll ask you now. Did you get to meet her at all? I know you didn't share a scene, but
I met her at the read-through, and that's another good story that we need to talk about. But
let's go.
Well, this whole process, I ended up getting cast, and I was excited, and I rode down to the studio. I was still riding a motorcycle at the time, and I got down to the studio and parked and pulled in, and they had everybody, and I walked in, and I was met at the door, and I said to the person meeting me, I guess it was one of the people from casting, I believe, I said, well, I'm so excited to be here, this part in this show. I read the script, and I'm just so, well, we're excited. We're so excited that you're doing this with us. I was like, super,
the positivity.
And I walked in, and I said and I started seeing, I started watching the show, and I was so impressed with the show and the editing and the music and the cast. I thought, oh, this is really. And I walked in, and I said to a couple of casts, I said, gosh, you guys have got such a great show here, and I'm not blowing rainbows up your skirts. I'm just so psyched to be part of this. Well, we're glad you could do it. I was like, and that was we were all in the same room then, which is the best shows that I think I've ever been on. Do that and make sure that the cast is all there so that everybody gets a real sense of how their part fits into the greater whole. And that to me is a mark of excellence, and that they did that there. And right, just from the get, it was so exciting.
I love that. So I want to take a minute real quick to just shout out our chat, because we've got a live chat, and they're already loving the story about the emotions, because these are mega fans, so they know Charles. Charles may be in one episode, but he hits you deep. Well,
he does.
I wrote in my notes today, because we rewatched the episode today. So many times I'm like, Charles is so sad.
Yeah.
So sad. I'm so sad.
Yeah.
And it's so clear that you obviously understood him and understood that. Before we get into some more questions and get through the episode, I just want Tony, in case we have any new people in the chat.
Oh, sure.
Bjorn, apparently he listens. So
yeah. Bjorn doesn't need to hear the rules. Bjorn
did his homework. No spoilers.
Yeah. No spoilers. Exactly. Tag, if you're gonna write a spoiler in the comments, just put spoiler alert ahead of it. That helps protect me and people like me are hopefully joining live and watching this show for the very first time, like I am. So tag your spoilers, please. Thank you.
Great, you did great. Bjorn, okay, I'm gonna ask you this is just a yes or no question. And it's okay if the answer's no. But
Machu Picchu.
Close.
Yeah. Did you watch any more of the show after your episode? Have you seen more of the show?
Confession, straight up, I watched everything.
Yes.
I ended up watching the whole show.
Great. Then we are definitely kicking Tony out. He's leaving the room. Not now, but later.
Talk about that. I know where you're going.
Yeah, I definitely I want to chat with you about it if you've watched it. That's awesome. That's so cool to hear. We love that. Let's see. Did you rewatch your episode this week just to like prepare? Did you know sometimes people are like, I remember it so well I didn't need to rewatch it.
You know, one of the greatest things that we get to do as actors is prepare for auditions, for performances, to work. So I watched it twice.
Oh gosh,
Bjorn, you're killing me. You're the pro. Yeah,
he's gonna.
You have our new cover. It's a 3-person show now, Bjorn, and you're
came out of insecurity. Let's just admit it. I was terrified by you people.
Please.
You know everything.
Oh,
she knows everything. Yeah. I don't know shit.
He doesn't know anything.
You do. I don't accept that, Tony. I've listened to you. You watch with discernment, and you are figuring this stuff out as it goes along. So I don't buy that.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen, but yes, I am discerning of what I see. I'll take that compliment.
That is a great segue to we want to know what Tony thought of the episode.
I really like this episode because I've been, in my head, not in my head, in practicality, been working with a writing partner on something that involves time travel, and we're not actively working on it now. We're working on something else, but it's a very complex thing that's like kind of spinning in the back of my head here and there, and I'll think about it and ponder it and have an idea. But when you're approaching time travel, you have to ask yourself, can the future be changed or can it? That's kind of your baseline rule, I think, when you're doing this. And it's always interesting to see what the choice is. And what was so cool about this episode is it made its choice, but it didn't tell us what the choice was until the end, which is that you can't change it. But there was such an emotional charge behind all of it that I was begging for them to be able to change it, because I don't want Charles to go, and I don't want Daisy to go, whichever one it's going to be. So I was invested in it both emotionally and like cerebrally, like, what method are they going to go with?
Mm-hmm. And as I previously said, I love this episode. It's definitely my second favorite of the season, hands down. And part of that, you know why? It's because it was written by Jed Whedon and Marissa Tancherone. And I think that when the showrunners write an episode, it always has extra sauce. And it was directed by Kevin Tancherone. So It's a family affair. Kevin's been on the podcast before. Yep. So Bjorn, I'd like to ask you just about working with them, about that little family trio.
Great director. He to me was the example of doing. He was so clearly prepared, and he said just enough. It wasn't on television. A lot of the time, you don't get anything from the director because they're too busy with everything else, and they're expecting you auditioned for it, you prepared the part, they think you're right for the part, come in and do the part. But I watched him a number of times with some of the contract players and some of the day players, some of the guest stars, of just saying that one thing. And again, from my buddy B.H. Barry, he used to say, at any given moment, there can be 98 different notes that you can give. But the idea is to give the one note, because then 77 of those things take care of themselves. And he was really great at the one note. I also asked her at one point, again, I was just so elated to be... This clearly was like something really special going on. And Tony, I also listened to you, hate hearing people say, this is the greatest and this is a great experience I ever had. So I'm not going to say that. But
have I said that?
Yeah.
I know it happens. I don't hate it at all. In fact, I love it. But it is almost funny how frequently every single person who's involved in this show talks about that everybody got along, that it was a wonderful family, that it was a wonderful experience, to the point that it's funny. I mean, it's great. That's love to hear that.
I hear you, and I understand that, because that's how it was. I asked Marissa at one point. I said, "What the hell is going on here?" Because like when they would say we're taking 5 at 4.5, everyone is back to work. And in television, when you're in a series, this was their 3rd season. It's hard to get back at 5. It's difficult. It's difficult for crew to get back at 5. They were on point. They were in place before 5. And I said to her, "What?" Not blowing any rainbows up anyone's skirts, but, like what the fuck is going? And she said, I should have asked if we can swear here.
Oh yeah,
I've heard you. And she said, "Well, we have a no assholes policy."
Yeah.
And I was like, "How?" She goes, "If they're not, they don't come. We don't have that here. If there's a, doesn't matter how creative a person is, doesn't matter how connected they are. If they don't work with us, if they're an asshole, they don't come. They're not around." And I thought, that's like, just put that on your list of things not to do. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
I think it's a good start.
No assholes policy would be a good tattoo.
That is a good tattoo. Yeah.
I love it. Let's just kind of dive into the episode a bit, because you're the start of the episode. You're in it immediately. And I'm curious. So at this point, Charles is unhoused. We keep going back and forth. It was homeless. Now it's unhoused. I think we're back to homeless in terms of the proper term to say. I'm curious about your costuming, because like, one, you probably looked comfortable, but also they had to dirty you up. What was it like in the makeup chair? All that business getting into this, the costume aspect of this character.
Well, one of the things is that Charles Hinton, was a brilliant guy. I mean, I think we determined that he was exceptionally intelligent, and he was a father and a husband. And the only reason, and I love that moment in the script where they say, I can't remember exactly, but they say something like, he blew his family off. That wasn't their terminology, but he abandoned them. I think he abandoned his family. It's like, no, I mean, he left to preserve their safety and to not torture his baby. So he wasn't an alcoholic or mentally unstable. Well, of course, he was mentally unstable, pain of his experience, but I think that not sort of going with the cliche trashed clothing was really smart on that. And that was costuming's call. But I also thought, well, I'm also not able to take a shower. Like seldom to never. So, the hair and stuff under the hat, I wore the hat as much as I could, because he would. I was excited to look back. Watching this, it was 10 years ago. So to look back and see how I like what I did with my hair too, because that to me was moving too. Like there's a guy who's really trying to be okay, and he's not okay. And it's out of his control, and he's doing whatever he can do. The wonderful thing with Wolfgang, the actor who played the store owner in the beginning, where he's like, "You seem like a nice guy. I can't have you around my customers," and how they decided to make contact with the money, and my character saying, he knew what could happen. It's like, I don't want any trouble. I think that all really worked in play with the costume.
100%.
Well, also the moment where he was like, "There's a shelter down there," so you can't be around people, and not being able to express that to someone who doesn't understand. Charles was instantly an endearing character. Like, I felt I wanted him to be okay right off the bat. And
I want to hug him, but I can't.
yeah, well, you want to hug him, but you can't. It's sad.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought up.
He would have loved you to hug him, by the way.
Yeah,
I know. Of course he would have.
I really do like Wolfgang's performance in here, and I was reading about Wolfgang a bit. Bodison, do you know him, this actor?
No, I don't.
So Tony, I learned a little story that Tony I think would really like, so I'm going to tell it. So Tony, at one point, he directed a production of A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
And so Wolfgang played in the film Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson.
He played Dawson.
He
Yeah, I
played
remember him now. Yeah.
So, but an interesting thing was on the film, Reiner had he was the locations manager.
That guy was?
Yeah, and Reiner couldn't find somebody to play that part. And finally he was like, "Hey man, I think you could do it." And he's like, "I've never acted before." He's like, "No, I think you could do it." And that's how his acting career started, was because Rob Reiner saw something in him.
Oh, I love that so much. Oh, rest in peace, Rob Reiner. And also, I love that play, and how cool. How cool.
I love it too, and I'm also a little mad.
If only we could all just get discovered that way.
Yeah, seriously. Oh.
I've been at this stuff since I was a child. I get some A Few Good Men. So A Few Good Men trivia, by the way. The original Broadway production. Do you know who understudied the Jack Nicholson part?
Clark Gregg?
No.
No.
Clark was in the original production.
J.K. Simmons.
Oh.
No kidding. Yeah.
Okay.
And he ended up going on for it at one point, and we were roommates in LA.
You and JK?
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet you got stories there.
Yeah, because it's Stephen Lang was the original Jessup, right?
That's right.
And in the original script of A Few Good Men, it's mentioned that he's the youngest colonel to ever hold that post, which is why it was a young Stephen Lang, which is why it was a young J.K. Simmons. They eventually changed that, perhaps for the film, but I think in future editions of the play as well, to open it up to older cast members. But that's so cool that J.K. was ready to go and went, and he went on a couple times.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I bet that was awesome. What a voice he has too.
He was great.
Yeah.
Amazing. Before we continue, Bjorn, do you have a hard out at 2 o'clock? Okay.
Good.
I feel like we might go a little long.
But wait, we also you dropped Bill Paxton stories and we just blew right over it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to circle back at some point.
The chat was asking. We'll circle back to that. We get this whole really cool thing where they're monitoring, Shield's monitoring the police monitors, and they hear Daisy's name, and they hear Hydra. Like I love how quickly this episode moves, and how quickly they get there, and how the character Edwin is like freaking out, like, and we don't know why, and they're trying to help him. But I just wanted your thoughts on this scene, because I think it's just so cool.
It is so cool. And then Hydra shows up with that fucking drone ship, and they bust out one of my favorite gizmos I've seen in the show so far, which is the net claw, which they snapped. Yeah, you got snatched in the net claw.
Good story there too.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's net claw time.
Yeah,
like, tell us about the net claw.
Tell us about that.
Well, so they got this huge crane, very high crane, and they've got my stunt double, and he's doing a great job. And I just happened to be talking to the coordinator, and I said, I if you want, just for your focus and whatever, I can do that. He goes, well, it's really high. I said, I've done 14 foot into airbags, so I've got some stunt training. I'm trained. He goes, oh, okay. So I got to do that, which was great fun, but also it made such a nice connection for both. Well, really for the moment for Chloe Bennett.
Yeah.
And we really did that. And that again was like, she's something.
She's great.
I got a great Chloe Bennett story for later too. But
we're ready.
while we were out there, they did the explosions, and they were magnificent.
I wrote that down. Like there's some big boys.
It was big stuff. Big stuff. We were at the other end of the block under one of those tents.
Yeah.
Up the sides, and we felt it in our chests. And the crew was saying that they were behind, of course, safety glass and whatnot. Bolts are flying past them. We're going, the boom goes, we're all in awe, going, oh man, and all of a sudden there's this slap. And one of the police cars' windscreens had gone up in the air and come down past us, and slid along the way. So that was some That was some big explosions.
Dang, man. Yeah, that could have hit you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had us positioned so that
Yeah.
worked. And those guys, I mean, those pyrotechnicians are geniuses and scientists and physicists, I think. But it was just really impressive. Really impressive.
Cool. One thing I've learned about myself in the years of being with Tony is that I apparently I have big reactions to anytime there's an explosion in a movie.
Yeah.
I love it, and I didn't know that I like verbally express that every time there's an explosion.
Yeah. It was one of the things that I said, wow, you really love explosions. And she thought about it and she goes, I do.
Yeah,
It never occurred to her. We just watch a movie and she goes, oh, when something goes kaboom, and this is no exception.
I love it. All right, chat, I bet you can guess which moment in the episode Tony shouted, "Oh my fucking god!" And it's Ward's villain entrance. And
Son of a
the
bitch.
chat saying his Matrix outfit.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes, Ward goes full Neo.
Yeah.
Because this guy is a douchebag. And even a douchebag who is possessed by some entity from beyond still decided to dress like that. And it cracked me up so much. I'm sure you've heard, Bjorn, how much I love hating Ward. And this is a whole new plateau of me and like, man, this guy's the worst.
There's lots of room for that. But again, watching the play, first of all, you got Powers Booth.
Yeah.
I mean, holy buckets. Powers Booth. Powers effing Booth. And the gravitas, the weight that guy carries. But then watching at that dinner scene, and then in the progress between them, watching the exchange of status that Brett Dalton achieves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With no volume, but lots of intention.
Mm-hmm.
That was some classic acting.
He's a very good actor.
We love him.
We've had him on.
Yeah,
He's awesome.
That's like, I'm always writing him like as much as like it's all very silly. I'm like, Brett's doing it though. He's always giving 110%.
But again, it's Powers Booth.
Yeah,
it's Powers Booth who is handing him the status.
Yep.
You know, it's like they say in stage combat and sword fighting, if you want to look badass, make the other person look dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
It's not about what you're doing. It's like, make that person dangerous. And Powers Booth made Brett powerful. Which, by the way, I thought was one of the most moving things about this script and most moving things about this episode was the examination of power and how, what was it? What's his name? Lord Dalton? No, that's I've got Dalton on the mind. Lord, what the hell? Afton. Lord Afton said, "Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely."
Yeah.
And I thought that when he says, "Oh, power," when Hive says, "Oh, that's the word," because they're having the conversation. Why do you want this? Why did you bring me back? And Powers just drops the word power and it gets eased upon like candy. It's like, oh, that's the word.
Yeah.
And what I like about this is like you do have these two powerful guys, and then they like bring you in, and you're just like the opposite, like this kind of broken, cowering, but like you have kind of a power bigger than either of them in a way.
Yeah, being exploited.
Yeah. And I you've just talked about how great Powers is, but every time we have somebody on the pod, we're just like, anything you can tell us about being next to that man, it's like it's him and Pax, like both being gone now, is just, we love hearing about them because they're just what presences.
He's theater. Powers Booth is theater, and we had lunch together, and all he talked about, to my delight and enjoyment and participation, we talked theater and about his theater beginnings, and boy, when you go back and review some of his work, especially that Jim Jones stuff that he did, holy smokes!
What's the Jim Jones stuff?
He played Jim Jones.
He did?
Oh yeah. Oh boy, howdy! You got to look that up.
I'm googling it.
Yeah. Unless I'm
on the tragedy, the story of Jim Jones. Oh, it's like 3 hours. It's like a whole.
Yeah, it's a whole deal. What year is that? Does it say?
It says 1980. I think.
Yeah, it's at least.
Oh wow.
At least
so that's before. Wow. So like I think the earliest thing I've seen him in, I've talked about it with, is the movie Southern Comfort, which is what's his name, Walter Hill movie that I really like. I think that's as far back as I've ever gone with Powers. So to know that he did Jim Jones in like 4 or 5 years prior to that, that's cool. I'm gonna check that out.
When I think of Jim Jones, like when I read articles about her, you hear the interviews with the congresswoman who escaped it. The picture of Jim Jones I have in my head is Powers Booth.
Oh wow, you're doing something right.
Made an impression. Well, you're doing it correctly either way. Made a strong impression. That's cool.
Awesome.
But I was trying to say also with him, like his ability to, he knew how big the frame of the shot was. Always, you could tell that he knew the size of the shot, but he filled it every single time, including the wide shots. And that was that kind of, like, people like to badmouth. Let me say this less generally. I have heard lots of negative comments about someone being theater as being a criticism of them on camera. And yet what I've seen, Clark Gregg is another great example. His theater work shows in his ability to fill a scene, the depth of his characterizations. He's not just saying the line. It's always the character. He's always the character. He's always the character pursuing the wants of his character. He's not a personality actor. Although, you see, is it called Florida Man? Is what recent?
Yeah.
Where that's a different guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on the West End right now doing Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
So he's, but we talk about him a lot. Like he's a Mamet guy because we like Mamet, and so because we're also we're theater people, so we feel it.
We gush about Clark.
He was in Naked Angels in New York, which is a really charismatic group of wonderful actors that includes some Adrian Pasdar, who was on the show later. I did fights with Adrian through a bunch of Naked Angels guys. So yeah, that theater training really showed up in a guy like Powers Booth.
No doubt, man.
I like hearing that. That's pretty awesome. We go through all the time travel talk.
Yeah,
but we kind of touched on that already.
I like that Coulson's like, I'm going to ask a question, and then everybody just kind of talks over each other with their time travel theories, and he's like, okay, fine, it can't be done or whatever. That was great.
But I loved it. I thought, again, who wrote this? That explanation of time.
Yeah.
If we could only see 2 dimensions, how could we imagine a cube? Well, imagine, and then making the line across the pile of papers and rifling through. I thought that, and again, that was something that was so much better on screen than it even was in the script. I remember reading it a few times.
Sure.
This good, like, wait, I'm stupid here. What the hell is? when you see Ian do that.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that was so sweet. I also, by the way, you talked about the time travel. What I liked about this show, about this episode, was it wasn't time travel like A Wrinkle in Time or these things where, some romantic. It wasn't like Outlander where they go through the woods and they touch the rock and then they're there. It was more time vision and time awareness, time and stabbing through that stack of paper somehow. Which I found more plausible to me.
Yeah.
Clairvoyance is like time travel, but you make a good point that it's a different way to explore it. The rules are still the same, or the question, I guess, is still the same. Can it be adjusted? And that's always the juice for me.
Yeah.
And like you said, it differs, but it can change every time.
Right.
So it's not like a real thing,
right,
as far as we know.
Yeah.
So I watched Twilight last night.
Did you?
As I do on Easter, I like to watch Twilight. And one of the characters
is that an Easter movie?
No, but vampires, resurrection.
They are revenants,
It's like just an inside joke with me and my best friend that we've had for years. But her as a clairvoyant, like she sees stuff, but they can change it, and it's very clear that this is not set in stone,
Mhm.
and that's its own set of things. And I like that these things can change,
Totally.
or in terms of writing. But speaking of like time travel and writing, we get a Terminator reference, and of course, Lincoln is somebody who would have seen T2 without seeing Terminator 1.
Yeah, Lincoln totally is that guy. You know what? He has kind of a Connor Reese vibe to him, the grown up version.
Oh,
Yeah. But no, yeah, and Clark Gregg straight kicked him off the team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
how dare
I
you?
love that. I love the line. You're off the team.
you're off the team.
No skin.
I know that a lot of people prefer T2, but I'm a T1 purist.
Mhm.
I love that movie so much, and I think it's the best one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course Lincoln hasn't seen it.
Yeah, yeah. Wouldn't put it
I
past
saw
him.
it once in the theater.
Oh, well, that's
When
enough.
it came out only. I haven't seen it since.
Wow. I mean, 1984 was a long time ago. You should see it again.
Yeah.
Probably should.
Yeah, it's, I mean, come on, a masterpiece. So we already talked about the scene with Polly, who was playing your wife, and I really do like how you talked about it a little, explains the history, explains like this is what happened. If that wasn't bad enough, the vision started coming true.
Yep.
Which is all like I just wrote in my notes, like, unfortunate gift.
Yeah.
Bleak stuff.
Yeah.
Much to be you.
Yeah.
I thought that that was where it really, like, because as I said before, you made this character instantly endearing, and then to hear it from her point of view that your abandonment was a sacrifice for them. That's drama, baby.
Yeah.
Like that was a really that was a rich thing to discover, and it
That's
endeared
love.
your character even more.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's love, exactly.
Love. And the character I believed I think was so gripping about how he was driven by love.
Mm-hmm.
That was it was all about caring for others at sacrifice to himself. And I also loved how they let him apologize over and over, even to the Marcus Flanagan character, another great New York actor from a lot of theater who's now living in London.
Is that the CEO?
The CEO,
Okay, yeah.
And
He was great.
look at what he did with the touch. Just and that actor's moment of coming out of the touch, his oh my God thing that he does, I thought was so genuine, so grounded, so believable. You're given this kind of, comic book assignment that you have to own. And I thought that he and I ended up becoming motorcycle buddies. We ended up riding a lot. Because
that's cool.
We pulled in one after the other into the parking lot the first day of shooting, and kind of ended up coincidentally walking, looking at each other over our helmets.
We're like, you die in this one,
yeah.
But also for that scene, like that's terrifying,
dude, with the dust suck. That's maybe the gnarliest thing we've seen on this show so far. Like, that is full tilt horror imagery that is bloody and nasty, and I was like pretty shocked by it. And then to see it and then realize that Ward, that we're going to have to do this again. Like that we got the vision, and now Ward is going to do it. Like, it was generous of the filmmakers to only show it once. You know what I mean?
Like, you know what's coming, because like Chekhov said, if you show a pistol in the first act, you've got to have it go off by the third. So
right.
I also thought it was really tasty, and this is just me talking fanboy now, not actor boy. But I thought it was so great that when Powers has the suit on, he gets the suit on and walks over, and the first thing he does is he crushes this vase.
Yeah.
And it's a vase. He didn't crush the marble column there, which would that's more, I guess. Yeah, but it's like, let's see this. Oh, that's good. And then he throws that huge table into the air.
Yeah. But I like it too, because it's still just kid stuff. This is not what this is for.
Yeah.
And I love that exchange with Ward of like, yeah, cute, but what do you really want? Do you want to really feel what you think power is? And Powers Booth is getting an education in that scene. The status is completely shifted now.
Yeah.
And it's cool to, like, it's disturbing to see that character kind of coming into his own in terms of exactly how ruthless he can be, especially when we get to the end with Daisy. It was very distressing.
And the lesson was, here, crush a guy's head.
Crush a guy's head, and the world will open up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's some dark stuff, but cool.
But again, calling ahead to what is talking about power and what we've experienced with oligarchy in our world, and what we're seeing politically and internationally. It's a pretty profound episode. And that,
it's hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I love the fight practicing.
I love the simulation.
So
yeah.
It's a shame that Bjorn, you're not involved, because like as a stunt guy, I feel like you would have had some,
they're literally doing a stunt show at the headquarters, and you couldn't go.
That's so sad.
But I got to do so again, we had a different coordinator for the fights on the rooftop. And that, and boy, when poor Daisy's getting her stuffings kicked out of her there, that was painful to watch. But again, the fight coordinator, another brilliant guy, and I wish I remember his name. I'm embarrassed to say I don't right now. He was really good, but I said, I'm a fight director. I've done a lot of Broadway shows and regional theater and the Guthrie Theater, and I could. Oh, it says, okay, well, it's kind of hard. You gotta. Well, I said, well, I'll show you. Let me try it for you. He goes, do you want some pads? I said, no, I don't. He says, you're going to have to do this like maybe 14 times. I said, I don't need pads for this. So they pick me up and they drop me, and I go right down. He goes, you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. I didn't feel a thing.
I'm a pro.
He goes, oh, that was good, but it actually has to be 180 degrees the other direction, because I had to fall into a close-up. So I turned it around and fell and went boom, right on the mark. And he's like,
buddy.
Okay, you can do this. I said, thank you.
and yet again, your stunt guy's like, I'm going to get some coffee. Y'all have a good time.
But I also, knowing well enough, I let him do it first.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Man,
definitely. Get it first. Yeah.
Yeah, you know how it works. And of course, I'm sure they hear, like, the actors like, oh, I know what I'm doing. And so they have to be like, okay, let's make sure you actually know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a quick Chloe Bennett story right there?
Do it.
The chat would love that.
So I told you that that this part touched me.
Yeah.
And I was kind of with this the whole time, through the read through and the rehearsals, and it was with me, and I had my imagery that I was using, and it was with me. And then we were going to take a weekend break, and I'm kind of referring to it again on my own and working the relationship and working the scene, and I've got nothing is happening to me. And it's the day, like we're going to have a day off or 2 days off, I guess it was, that we're going to come back, and that's what we were going to shoot, like the big dealio with Daisy and the handoff of my daughter to her. And we're getting ready to go home, and I run into Chloe, and I said, listen, like I said, I've been teaching. Was teaching acting for 16 years in my own studio. I taught at Juilliard and Circle in the Square and NYU Graduate School, and I know how to act, but I'm feeling the pressure of this, right? It's this big goddamn TV show. I've got this part, and this is like the big fucking moment, and I got nothing, And I said to her, Chloe, I don't know. It's been I explained to her. She goes, you know what? We're going to come back on the day. There's going to be smoke. There's going to be fire. It's going to all be there. Don't worry about a thing. It'll be there. She goes, you've been great the whole time. Don't worry about a thing. And, she was much younger than me, and, playing, but I felt so relieved by that. And she was absolutely right, of course, but the generosity. I was a guest star. She's very freaking busy. She was exhausted from all that fight rehearsal that they were doing. They were all exhausted. She was exhausted. And she had the generosity to stop for that moment and talk to a fellow actor with that kind of open heart. I just, boy, top of the list.
Love that.
Wow, that's awesome. And the chat's so happy that you shared that. Thank you. That's like, oh, nice stories about people we love. They're nice.
Yeah.
That's
It's great.
Should I mention that Ray Fiennes quote that I told you about, which is a very similar idea? That,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I was watching Jack O'Connell do an interview talking about working on the Bone Temple with Ray Fiennes, and he was saying that they were shooting this scene all day, and the interviewer was like, "Did you get any advice from Rafe?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I got a good nugget." And they were shooting it, and as you're shooting it and doing it over and over again, it starts to kind of lose its luster, and you kind of get into a rut. And so Jack O'Connell asked Ray Fiennes, like, "What do you do when you get into that rut? What do you do?" Ray Fiennes goes, "I don't know, man. I hope you find a current." That's what he said. Just like
From one of the greats.
one of the best there to ever do it, and made me so happy to hear. Just like,
I compliment whether I should go by Ralph.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Tony, I wanted to check in and ask how you feel about the Andrew May stuff.
Oh
the
man,
kind of
yeah.
goodbye. It's sad.
It's sad. I mean, and it's like there's a lot of feelings in this episode. The fact that Charles's arc and what's going on with May and Andrew is some heavy hitting shit. Yeah, I Ming-Na Wen is doing such a good job of walking this tightrope on this character of like being a compassionate person who's literally made a life of stopping that feeling, and having to just sort of make hard decisions and make decisions based on people's safety and also her love for her partner. It's really rich. She's got it in spades. She's just bringing it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Bjorn, did you enjoy watching like the other scenes, or we're like, oh, I'm not in this one?
No, I was there all day long.
Yeah.
I was there all day long because listen, there's a lot of terrific actors, and there's always something to watch. And it was, like I said, it was a great vibe. So, and honest to Pete, it doesn't always go like that. Really, it doesn't always go like that. It doesn't. I can even say it doesn't usually go like that. Mad Men was like that. I mean, there's been a couple that have been really, really, a great environment. That was one of them.
That's cool.
It's also funny to go find out later that Ming-Na Wen and I had a connection on Mulan.
No way.
She had a big voice part on Mulan, and I also did motion capture for that before that was a thing. It may have been one of the original productions of motion cap because they were doing the artwork for it, and BH and I came out to help consult them how to do the weaponry that these little soldier characters had and how they might fight with this weapon work. And BH is a fourth dan black belt in Aikido. And I studied with him Aikido as well as stage combat. So we were doing the stuff, and they had a scene where Mulan's father had to want to go to war, but he'd been injured, so he had to stumble in a way and they just couldn't draw it. So they ended up, well, we can do this thing we're going to call capturing the motion or motion capture. And they stuck some referential ping pong balls to me, essentially. And I did the stumbling for them. So I was like, oh, I'm going to cast with her.
Wow. So wait, is this the scene?
Awesome.
Is this the scene where Mulan's father is meant to approach the man on the horse and take his orders, like take the scroll?
No,
and
so he's trying to rush out. She's taken off with his horse.
Oh, it's that scene.
He's trying to rush out.
Yeah.
To get the horse or something. He can't
Collapses.
do it.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
she's going.
Cool.
So you're Ming-Na Wen's dad.
Yeah. That's the moral of the story.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I read some cool stuff about the one shot fight the choreography of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Because we love a one shot.
Sure.
So Kevin Tancherone, he directed The Dirty Half Dozen in season 2, and he did a big long shot in that episode. So Jedmo was like, we want to give you another one to do, and he talked about it like it wasn't about like trying to one up himself, just making it different. And basically, it was more complicated because it was in such a smaller space, and they had like the actors, but also the producers and showrunners were all in that intimate room. So that was like a cool thing. But he also mentioned something that I thought I didn't really think about that was interesting. Whereas he mentioned shows like Daredevil or The Flash or Arrow, the superhero shows, usually they have a mask. But in this case, Chloe doesn't wear a mask. So he says you have to make sure the person who is acting the part is actually physically doing it. And I give all my props to Chloe for making it work.
Yeah.
So just the idea of like, it's like we just watched this roller derby movie from the 70s.
Yeah.
And like the women who were standing in the roller derby, it just looks so bad. Like the hair in the face, try to hide the fact that it wasn't Raquel Welch doing the roller derby.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's an interesting.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's not Chloe's badass, man.
I love that move she does where she sort of throws herself sideways across the guy and takes him down over her own body. That's like, wow, beautiful.
Yeah, cool
beautiful
move.
to look at, plausible as because also there's always the thing about she weighs 7 pounds. It's like how is a 7-pounder? I'm sorry, let's give her some credit. 23 pounds. 23-pound diminutive person take these people down. And I thought that because she hit him high and hard and with the twist, is like that's believable. That's actually plausible. You see a lot in film and TV where it isn't plausible. And someone gets picked up and thrown against the wall and dusts themselves off, and you're like,
but when she's grappling people, I mean, she could be 5 pounds, but it's their weight, not hers. That's pivotal to it, and
it's
I like
Aikido.
Yeah, and jujitsu, so it was cool to. I love when a small woman thrashes people. I think it's a delight.
Anytime a woman thrashes anybody, I'm into it. So finally we've got the big climax. As the vision is coming true. Which is like it's inevitable. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's just all done so interestingly and smoothly. And then you just have this beautiful scene on the roof, and it's just I feel like when it's revealed that I was hoping you could help. Oh, I'm getting chills. Is to look after the daughter, and like you made a sound that I was like I could tell you were really affected.
Oh, totally, man. Well, it's a beautiful. I think a fun thing that really doesn't have anything to do with you, Bjorn, because we hear the line, I was hoping that you could help. We hear the line in the beginning. We say, oh, that's curious. But then we hear it a second time. Now it's been completely loaded up.
That's true. That's great.
It's the editing that's making you look awesome. Because it's a very beautiful read, but like it's magnified by the journey we've been on, and now it has a whole new color to it.
Also, plus the how bright it was to provide the character and the arc and the show with that prop.
Little totem is great, man.
Carved Robin,
and
from the first scene of him coloring it for his daughter. And handing this, wanting to hand the daughter up, and his death being the Robin rolling out of his hand.
Yeah, and I love that
perfectly. Thanks to the Robin.
I love that she has it even before it becomes her job to give it. Even before she knows her purpose regarding that Robin, she's fixated on it when she's doing work. It's on her desk. She's touching it. This is her connection to what she has to do and to you and everything. And her duty.
She picks it up under the net.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And I get absconded. He's behind, and she's got it. And you're right. I just thought that was a really wonderful piece of writing, but such a gift for an actor.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt, man.
Like, let's have this Robin. That was cool. That was cool.
Yeah. And then Charles dies.
Yeah.
So sad.
It's really sad.
Spoiler,
we won't be seeing you again. Well, we are, because he's going to be our new co-host.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You locked in. Is there anything else about filming that scene that you didn't get to mention that you wanted to say? Because I just feel like it's so much going on.
No, it was so much going on. That was great. In fact, what else happened was in an early shot, an ash landed on my nose by my eye, and I see it in the shot, and it was so pronounced to me. I was like, we have to keep the ash here. Like,
yeah.
That was my scene partner.
That's cool. That's good.
Mm-hmm. And an interesting thing, the last thing that Daisy sees when they touch is that same flash we saw at the beginning of Bouncing Back, the first episode we kept back of the year. Remember when we had Ron Underwood on and he said he didn't film that? It was the opening. So that what we saw that already in a few episodes ago, and now we learned that is something that Charles is. So he's like, he may be dead, but he's important.
Yeah.
That was neat.
All right.
I was wondering before we lose it, or before I lose it, in the much earlier scene where they're trying to find me, where they're trying to find Charles, and they're doing the facial recognition software up there on the screen. After listening to your interview with Eric, the
editor,
I was wondering, who am those people? I was wondering if that was one of their little gifts from themselves, and they've got people's names up there. Like, knowing the show now and listening to you guys talk about it, I bet that none of that is a mistake.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, there's probably Easter eggs and friends' names and things like that abound. Yeah.
I bet none of that is random.
Yeah, of course not.
That's fun. And then when you're up on the screen, it's actually like a nice photo of you in a suit. Did you take that picture for this, or did you just like give them a picture of yourself?
It was a reject from a pile of pre-beard headshots.
All right. Cool,
I had the full beard early in Los Angeles. Before there's a lot of goatees. Like,
I did see one of your earlier credits was Bearded Man. So yeah.
And so I was like one of the first actors in New York to other than truckers and bikers, no one had a full beard. So that headshot was pre full beard. I ended up working a lot because of that beard and getting paid to shave it when I had to. So that was always fun. Now it's all gray, so I don't know.
But that's cool. It got to be a calling card for you. You didn't. There wasn't a lot of that type. That's smart.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then it seems like Malik touched Charles, so he saw something.
Yeah,
but we don't know what. So that's
we don't know what.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, I know.
Yeah, you guys are going to talk about it soon, I feel.
So before we kick Tony out, we do usually pick an episode MVP. I know who my answer is.
Yeah, and I think it is enhanced by the fact that he's such a sweetheart, but I'm going to have to say Bjørn Johnson was my episode MVP.
I would have picked you even if you weren't here, Bjørn, and it's part of the reason why I wanted you on the pod, because you stand out so much in this episode, and like you said, I'm not blowing rainbows up your skirt.
That is in my lexicon now, by the way. That's getting used.
We are absolutely using that in the future. But yeah, for me, like, this is your episode, 100%.
It's a hell of a guest star.
You can pick an MVP. You can pick yourself if you want. We wouldn't judge you.
I picked Daisy. I picked because I was so fully aware. I mean, all the people in that scene were working themselves to the bone, but she in particular was getting thrown around a lot, and I think it was hard on her physically and exhaustively, and the fact that she could act that well through the whole piece and then pull off that one shot by itself is everything. But I didn't know her as an actress previous to that. I found out that she'd been in a lot that I was not aware of, but I ended up becoming a big fan of hers, and so that's my. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Okay,
it's 2-1. We win. Yeah.
But no, she is great, and like, she's going to be in White Lotus season 4. Can't wait to see her in that. All right, Tony, we're kicking you out.
Oh.
No, we're inviting you not to hear spoilers, because that would make
a nice way
enjoying the rest of this so much less pleasure. bowl.
Oh, that's sweet of you to
That's a really
say.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I
may,
just like
this
to
is
say, get the fuck out.
yeah, you just like to kick me out, and but he's giving me something to go with. Yeah, so thank you to Stephanie at Eclectic Muses for doing our artwork. Thank you to Ryan Mira of Yellow Pills Music on Instagram for doing our theme music. Thank you to our producer Maria. Thank you, producer Maria.
You're welcome.
And thank you to our wonderful guest Bjorn. It was such a pleasure having you, buddy.
Great to meet you, Tony. And I really admire you not smoking.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate that. It was a tough one. There you go.
That's nice. All right, get the fuck out.
All right, getting out.
Leave.
Nice to see you. Go away.
Yeah, he says, go away. All right, he's walking out. He's reaching the door, and he's gone.
Why is he wearing that T-shirt? No.
Great question. Wrong. But honestly, I'm wearing a Jim Jarmusch shirt, so I'm not on theme either.
Love that guy.
Oh yeah, he's one of my
Not
favorites.
by law, can we say? Holy
Yes,
smokes.
incredible film. Tony bought me this shirt, and there were a couple of his films I hadn't seen, and I said I refuse to wear the shirt until I've seen every single thing he's directed.
I'm
So
impressed.
yeah, so I've seen every movie of his, and he's one of my faves. Okay, so you've seen the show, so you obviously know how important Robin becomes, which is like,
You're
do
welcome.
you? Yes, exactly. That's why, like, it's so cool. Like, just this one-off character, like, is like a crux of season 5, even not even season 4. Like, we wait a long time before it all comes back and is really important, and I love that. And I'm curious, like, were you surprised watching it? Did you like,
Yes.
whoa, look at how
Yes.
important I still am?
Yes. Yes. I was very surprised. It was like, and it was kind of funny too, because I was a guest star. I was a guest star for one episode, and also that's been funny in my career. I have never had a season. I've never been a series regular. I thought I would be, but death and taxes, luck, and whatnot. It just I've been blessed to be on a lot of wonderful shows, but it kind of made me feel contributive. Is that the appropriate way to?
I think so.
I was delighted. I was delighted because I think that they would have done that regardless of who was playing the part. But I just, because I kept watching the show, it's like, oh, I like these actors. I like these characters. I like this story. This whole sort of comic book universe is new to me, and I get now why people get so into it. And then to see the resonance through his daughter like that was really something.
And then it gets bananas, because then we see her as an old lady, and then we learn, like, the time travel aspect can be changed in season 5. Like, that's kind of the twist of everything we've been talking about. They do change the future in season 5, which is pretty cool. If you're down, and when we get there in 2 years, if you want to come back and be a guest as a fan and just talk about getting to see your on-screen daughter thriving, we'd love to have you back.
That would be so fun. That would be so
awesome.
fun.
In 2 whole years, we'll call you. That's the crazy thing about this podcast is the anniversary aspect. That's
what's groovy about this podcast.
It's fun. It's a fun part of it. I love it, and it just means we're doing it till 2030.
2030.
I know.
No, I'm already so old.
I honestly, I'm like, wow. Hopefully, the world is still standing. We'll get to finish the podcast. You know what I mean. Bjorn, this was so much fun. Thanks for staying a little late. We just there was so much. We didn't even get a pack story. I feel like, but
we don't want to overdo our welcome. But if you like, as soon as we're done, I'll tell you the story, and you can show Tony.
Okay. Well, once we're done, he'll come back. So we'll chat off screen, and then save it for next time. We'd love to have you come back again, just as a fan, as someone who's watched the show.
I got trying to figure out how to read your chat about 3/4 of the way through this. And I'm very impressed with your audience.
Oh, great! That's so nice to hear.
There's a lot of fun in there too, but there's some really insightful stuff.
Yeah, they're the mega fans are here. They know the show. Like I like to brag that I know the show well, but some of them I think have me beat in terms of knowledge. So
I'm really glad that I did some homework.
Yeah, You crushed it. Watching the show twice, that's pretty cool. And remembering some, it's been 10 years. We don't expect everybody to remember everything. So we appreciate that. Before I let you go, anything you want to just like plug, anything you got coming up or social media, anything people can find you?
I work with a creative group, and we do films for $0. And we do a lot of shorts. We're working on some features. But it's called Detroit Street Films. And on Instagram, it's Detroit_Street_Films, all lowercase. On TikTok, it isn't a TikTok. I'll tell you in a second. I had my buddy send it to me because I don't have TikTok.
I don't either.
D Street Films on TikTok. D Street.
Say it
Films.
again. D Street. Okay.
D Street Films. D is a David. It's a Detroit. And it's really cool and fun. And we're going to start podcasting too because you have to. So
that's incredible. Yeah, please. I'd love to come on. As you know, Tony and I, we're big film people, and it's tough. It's tough here in LA right now in the industry. So just like getting creative stuff out there, making sure it's doing what you can. Like that's awesome to hear because we gotta keep the creativity flowing.
Right, and plugging for others. I want to say that the old way of you audition for things and then you get something and that gets you something else. That's how you build a career, is audition for other people's projects. Is become less and less and less a part of people's realities. So you guys who are watching, if you're creatives, get out there and create, make stuff, write stuff, produce stuff. And like the Duplass brothers pointed out to us a long time ago, if you've got a camera or a telephone and a weekend and a friend, you could be shooting something this weekend. So make yourselves happen.
Oh, that's a great advice. And the dude, that's a great example. The Duplass brothers, like, wow, let's talk about some incredible guys. Thank you again, Bjorn. This was so much fun. A great time. Thank you again to the chat. We are back next Sunday, I think. I haven't locked in the guest yet. So TBD on the time, but probably our normal time. And then the week after, for episode 17, I've locked in a pretty exciting guest, but I'm not going to say who because you got to tune in next week to find out. So thank you. I don't know what's happening with this camera one, zooming in and out. But thank you again, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.
It's a delight to be here. Thank you so much. I'm just flattered and honored.